Well, thank you for sharing, Ikuya and Bernardino. That's his full name, Bernardino. Those who know him know him. Thank you, Uncle Femi and the ICI team for giving me this opportunity to share a few thoughts, particularly because I work with young people. I used to be young. I'm youngish. But let's begin with the shocker. The shocker that 7 out of every 10 cases of corruption in Ghana are by Christians. 71% of lack of integrity cases are by people who name the name of Jesus. So consequently, what is wrong with Ghana is the church. If the church gets it right, Ghana will be right. Forget about the politicians and civil servants and business people. 71% of them, at least, are in our churches, right? So again, if we take care of the church, the country will be fine. 1 Peter 4:17, for it is time for judgment to begin with God's household. And if it begins with us, what will be the outcome for those who do not obey the gospel of God? So our topic is, what shall we do? What shall we do is our theme tonight. And I have 7 interventions. I don't know, maybe one for each of my 7 children. But I have 10 minutes. So what I'll do is that I'll quickly mention the first, scratch on it a bit, then list the others, and maybe I can come back to the first. I think the first is the most important. The first is this: reorientation and reordering. Reorientation in our minds, and reordering of our actions. What do I mean by that? You see, first, and I like to challenge themes and things like that. First is, what shall we be? What shall we be? Before what shall we do? Do you know why? Because who we are is more important than what we do. For we do what we do flowing from who we are. Why is what shall we be more important than what shall we do? Because our doing can only be authentic, speaking of integrity, and sustainable if it comes from our being. When you are not like that, you are not like that. You may try for a while, but when nobody's looking, when the law is loose, when there's no policeman, you will be something else. What shall we be? Thirdly, why is being more important than doing? In the instructive words of Pesket and Ramachandra, mission is not primarily about going, nor is mission primarily about doing anything. Mission is about being. It is about being a distinctive kind of people, a countercultural community among the nations. Again, why is being more important than doing? Because only transformed people can transform society. We have a bunch of people running for office who are not personally transformed. How do they transform the nation? Only deeply transformed people can deeply transform society. Listen, Luke chapter 19. There was a guy who met Jesus from the Ghana Revenue Authority. His name was Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector. Now you know the story, I'm not going to go into it, but Zacchaeus showed he was willing to change by offering half of his belongings to the poor and paying back 4 times what he has stolen. Imagine how Africa would change if every politician decided that all that I've stolen, I'm going to give half to the poor, and anybody I've cheated, I'm going to pay. Listen, we will not be using asphalt, we'll say tar, gold. So listen, if we are not seeing this, what does it mean? It means people have not really encountered Jesus Christ. Listen, you cannot encounter the Jesus of the Bible and stay the same. You may have encountered a religion. You may have encountered a moral code. You may even have encountered a denomination. Maybe you encountered your father or grandfather who was a Presbyterian minister. But if you encountered Jesus Christ of Nazareth, your life can say. I need to come back to this point because my 5 minutes are gone already. So I'll come back to this point of being. But let me quickly go to this. Number 2, intervention is definition. We need to define, thank you for giving us a definition for integrity, but we need to define corruption and integrity in a simple but memorable manner. Let me tell you, half of the time people are talking about integrity, they have no clue what they are talking about. We need to define these terms, corruption and integrity, in a very simple but memorable manner. Why? Because naming something is half of the battle to taming it. If you don't name, if you're not sure what exactly is this, if you're not sure of it, you can't deal with it. By the way, one of my professors defines, one of my mentors, he's a professor, he's not a pastor, but his level of integrity is more than 90% of pastors I know. You know how he defines integrity? Keeping your word. And it was when I was reading his article, we can send it round for all of you to read it. You will think this is an exegesis on Psalm 15. It's an academic paper on integrity. Integrity is keeping your word. So I see a good job for keeping your word. We started at 5. But if we just use this measure, how many people have integrity in this country? That's just one definition, keeping your word. And Psalm 15 says, keeping your word even when it hurts. So, what did I talk about? Definition. Number 3 is laws and jaws. What do I mean by that? We've got to tighten the jaws of the laws and let the laws bite. We are good talkers in this country, but bad doers. We like to satisfy our consciences by making laws with no intention of keeping them. While we are doing the law, we know we will not keep it. It has created an environment of impunity, because I know that I will do it. Even if I'm found out, nothing would happen. How much money has been recouped after all these accountant general reports, etc.? How much money? The accountant general himself will be chased out of town. Shame on you, whoever you is. Now that is important, because people who have stolen money and superintended corruption in this country are coming back to be re-elected. Listen, the importance of the law is the guardian until people receive salvation. Isn't that what we see from the book of Romans? So laws are important. It is the guardian until people receive salvation, and then they are guarded by the law of love. I won't do this because I love Jesus. Like Bernard said, I love the truth. He's a person. But until then, there's got to be laws. And laws that bite. And by the way, as I talk about laws, the jaws of laws, it will also behoves on us to set realistic laws. Because sometimes our laws are ridiculous. Even speed limits. Some of them I see, I'm like, is this for people walking or bicycle? Because if it's ridiculous, we'll all break it. You understand what I'm saying? They are GRA people who will come to you and tell you how to break the law. Because they know that the law is not, it doesn't make sense. They themselves will tell you, but we need, that's why we need sane people in parliament, not brawlers. What kind of parliament is this? You might drag me before the privileges committee. I am willing to go, because other people lay down their lives for the faith. Our children are watching parliamentarians fighting. What sense do you have to make laws? We need to make righteous laws, and laws that are realistic, and laws we intend to keep, and laws that when we don't keep, we pay the price for it. It means I might be caught in the law myself too. So be it. Number 4, values. We need to acknowledge, and this is from young people, our values have changed as a society. You know, what we value, what is a value? A value is what you value, right? What we value has changed. You know, I think about my grandfather's generation, where money wasn't important. My grandfather was one of the founders of Afram publications. I don't even know whether he even got a single, like what is it called, dividend or anything. They didn't care about those things. You know, royalties and all of that. They just wanted to build the nation. They just wanted to leave a legacy. Not anymore. Our values have changed.
Yeah, your time is up. But I please proceed. Let me give you at least a minute. I need
So-
a minute to
All
wrap
right,
up.
I'll just round up. So we've become very materialistic, and we've got to acknowledge that. In fact, I dare say, let's do a survey and find out how many Christians actually value integrity and are anti-corruption versus if they will get material gain for it. We will be surprised. In fact, many of us talk about corruption, etc., only because it is not our turn to chop. We talk about it while we are waiting our turn. Okay? But as soon as we get the baton, hey! And they're chopping. I mean, like, look, the only difference between the MPP and DC is the way they chop. The MPP do it with fork and knife, and then they put a handkerchief here like this. The NDC people, they put their legs inside, their hands, everything. But all chopping be chopping. Listen.
Yeah, wrap up.
Yeah. I'll continue in the discussion.